Leaderboard players. My name's Sharif. I run Modus Coffee Roasters out of Vancouver, BC, along with my partner Jessica. And I'm here to do the reveal for our coffee. We've kind of been operating out of Vancouver for about 5 or 6 years now. We're a pretty small micro roaster. Essentially, we just source single origin coffees, so we don't do any blends or that kind of thing, and the menu operates off of set profiles that we kind of have throughout the year. So mainstay profiles, and each of these profiles kind of represents something different or that we look for in specialty. So you can kind of come back to a profile a year from now and you might have the same experience, but it'll be kind of like a different producer or origin and that kind of thing. So that kind of gives us the flexibility to stay seasonal as well, and we can just show off what's tasting great in specialty right now. The coffee itself is out of Honduras from Jose de la Cruz Meja. He's part of a larger collective of producers in the area who are mainly about sharing information and growing practices and best practices, just trying to get more for their crops and that kind of thing. Just helping each other do better. This is actually his first micro lot that he's sold. So up until this crop or before this crop, he's just been selling whole cherry. So this is a really big move for producers to not only grow their own coffee, but process their own coffee. So Jose essentially has built his own solar dryer and fermentation tanks just so he can have more control and autonomy in his crops. So this kind of gives a lot more control and variability, and how he wants his coffee to taste in the end. And as far as processing, I think the total time is about 27 days after picking, including drying and fermentation and all this. So after the cherries are picked, the ripest are selected, and then they're floated, and then they go into grain pro bags, sealed grain pro bags in shade for 48 hours. And then after that, there's multiple steps to get to the coffee we have now. And in between, there's a lot of like little extra things he does. So he does things like measuring pH and this kind of stuff to help with timing and consistency as well. So the coffee itself is super clean. You can kind of tell all the hard work that went into it, and it's nice with coffees like this because it gives the roaster a lot of range in how we want to show it. And it's honestly very, very difficult to mess up. Even the first few test batches came out really, really delicious, even though we were quite far off the mark that we were looking for. It's very versatile, great for espresso and filter in any way you have it, and also relatively easy to brew as well. As far as how we got this coffee, we purchased it through Samia, and Brendan and his team are doing really great work, just working with really great producers, including Honduras, Guatemala, Colombia, Rwanda. Their thing is to work with people who either have hard access to specialty, or they're just getting into the specialty market and maybe are unsure how to navigate it, and just connecting those producers to roasters who have those kind of values. So that's kind of the direction that we're also moving our buying practices to, is just more purpose-driven coffees, relationship-based coffees, because I think repeatability for both producers and roasters is a big thing. As far as the varietal goes, the IH90 typically is not the first choice for a lot of specialty coffee producers. I think mainly because the goal of the IH90 was high yield, a lot of disease resistance, but then on the other end of the spectrum, flavor-wise, it might not compare to other varietals such as Caturas or Bourbons and that kind of thing. So this is like a really great example of just good growing practices and processing practices. So there's really no no best varietal, I guess you could say. The coffee is really juicy, really full, super clean. You get a lot of kind of chocolate caramel vibes in the aroma with a bit of like purple fruit, and in the cup we find we get a lot of barley, kind of grape candy. If you've ever had like purple crush, that kind of thing. Really versatile coffee, great for filter, really nice with milk on espresso as well. And I find the anaerobic step kind of gives it a bit of a candy like finish in the end, almost like a fizzy crispy finish. So it's a really like fun coffee, but it's also very approachable because it's not too in your face, and the fermentation is kind of in the back seat, so you can kind of taste more of the terroir as well, and all the hard work that went into this coffee. I guess for a Honduran coffee, it's pretty typical, but the anaerobic edition kind of makes it a little bit tricky, so that might have thrown you off. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the coffee and enjoy the rest of the game.